Hi guys, and welcome to this final question in our sample paper 1 series of the business analysis practice sample paper. And now we're going to be answering question 20. So hopefully this range of questions would have given you a little bit more sort of context of what is asked in the business analysis practice course. And also it also identifies the areas of knowledge that is expected and the level of knowledge that is expected of you when you're writing your exams. So never assume before you write your exams that you're exam ready and just book your exam and go straight into it, just thinking that you feel like you might know that you know enough. Rather go through a couple sample papers and go through the series like this. And if you feel that you've gone through this series and you feel that I'm sort of there, I'm at a level where I can answer questions such as this. I can identify the context. I know contextually how a business analyst is supposed to apply their knowledge in this situation. And you've done enough revision from your studies in order to apply the knowledge and retain and recall that knowledge and apply it in particular contexts. You need to at least be at a stage where you can answer questions such as this. Because assumption is a very bad thing to do. Just assuming that you're ready. Rather, really plan and prepare and form a strategy for your studies and get to a point where you truly feel like this is it. This is it. You're at a stage now where you know contextually how to apply your knowledge, or you've gone through the entire syllabus and you know each of these syllabus areas, and you've looked at that syllabus document and each of those learning objectives, and you know contextually all of the information in those sections and how they applied in a practical sense. And in the context of business analysis practice, from a strategic point of view, from a stakeholder perspective, and how to practically apply these techniques. So, that being said, let's continue on to question 20, and let's read through it and use our little technique and try and see if we can identify any techniques or any areas of knowledge that they're asking us on, and then look through the question maybe once again and see if we can contextually see what it's asking us, what area of knowledge of this particular technique, how we can apply that knowledge to the situation. Because most of the time it's asking us about what a business analyst, it's testing us on what a business analyst would be doing in one of these particular situations or contexts of a career, of a job, of what you are tasked with, what you're asked to do, what responsibilities you have. Because you want to be good at what you do in your life in order to be good in your career. If you're good at what you do, you know what you're doing, you'll be able to provide value. The more value you provide for your organization, the more you're going to be compensated for it. So that is almost directly related to the success of anyone, is about the knowledge and the application of knowledge within a particular context. It also allows you to differentiate yourself from others within your particular career industry. So let's read through this. So enough about this sort of a side career advice that I'm giving you here, but rather let's look at this question. So it says, question 20, Open Door Properties has created a business case to digitize its letting operation. The following statements appear in the report. The first in the list is a new technology supplier will need to be brought on board. The second in the list is the internal processes will change due to automation. The third one on the list is a new developer role will be needed, consisting of £60,000 per annum. And then the last and fourth one on the list is 2 existing roles will be made redundant with a once-off cost of £20,000. And then the instructions here are, in which section of the business case are these statements most likely to be found? A. impact assessment, B, cost benefits analysis, C, risk assessment, and D, options. So this question is actually is quite clear. There's no it's not vague, it's not cryptic. There's nothing that we really need to analyze here. It's quite straightforward. It's literally asking us which section of the business case are these statements most likely to be found. So we need to, from the instructions, it's asking us for more, is it asking us for more than one? It's saying in which section of the business case. Okay, so in which section, it's saying that we need to only select one of these. So which section? Not in select all that apply or in all of the sections will this apply. It's just one. And contextually we can see that. We can say this information from this context, from this assignment that the business analyst has done, will obviously only appear in one of these sections because that's what the report is from. Okay, so if we go back a little bit, we reverse a little bit, we can see that this is in the context or the area of knowledge. The technique is the business case, which is massive in terms of business analysis. It is one of the business analysis services in the business analysis service framework, which is the feasibility assessment and business case development. So from your studies and from this area, the service that you're going to be providing an organization, maybe potentially in the future, is creating a business case. And in order to create a business case, you need to know how to structure it. What information needs to be included in the business case? You need to know what the business case is for. Also, what context is it produced in? Why do we do it? So, in terms of the structure of the business case, we know that some business cases will be there's certain suggested generic sections that from our studies, they've suggested we have in terms of our structure, but sometimes the business case can be adapted or changed according to the context. So an organization may not require a management summary or an introduction. It all depends on the context and what needs to be tailored to the organization and how much information needs to be presented, maybe from how detailed the actual analysis is or the study into producing this business case, or how much investment the organization is actually going to make into this business analysis assignment, where we're going to be figuring out which solutions and developing this business case, which solutions are going to be proposed to the organization. But the business case is there to, we know that, just contextually, it's there to justify any project or any options. It's also there, it's used to present options or solutions or improvements to an organization, to their decision makers, the senior decision makers. We may have done all this analysis, created all of our sections in the business case, and we may need to go up into a projector screen. We may have presented a series of slides for each of the chapters of the business case, and we go through each chapter or go through each option in terms of their risks, their costs, their benefits, their impacts, so that the purpose is really for these decision makers, these seniors, it may be the executives of the organization, could be the owners, whoever has the responsibility of making the decisions in the organization in terms of investment, and saying to them, this is what we suggest, or these are the options that are the best options here, and make it very easy for them to select one of the options. So they can say, well, this is a great option, but it seems quite costly. It may not be best for us at this stage because we'd like to invest this money into other projects. Or it may be the case where we present an option and they say, what you presented here is absolutely fantastic. It aligns with the business, and this is what we're going to select. And then a project will be created and the changes will be made in the organization. But it also forms the justification for the project. So it allows us to look back at this information in the document and truly during the project, the development of this product or the solution in the project. It allows us to look back at the business case and say, are we doing what we're doing here? Is it aligned with what is in the business case? The business case said that this is the justification. The information there, all of it together, allowed us to understand that this is a good thing, what we're doing. But if any point during the project, it's now seen as a bad thing, we look back at the business case and know something's gone off track, then we need to consider closing the project or stopping this whole transformation. Okay, so if we go back to our question, we know that there's the specific structure of the business case that we've been taught, and we know that we have an introduction where maybe it just discusses a bit of an introduction into the problem or the opportunity, and it gives us a context into why we're actually developing a business case. Then we may have a management summary, which is a breakdown, maybe just a simple paragraph, or it may be a page of information that summarizes everything in the business case. Because from what the title indicates is that a management summary is that it's a summary for management. It's so that managers, they're often very, very busy and they don't have time to go through all of the details in a document. They may just need just a quick summary of what the solutions, the options, the costs, and all that sort of stuff in the business case is. So we'll have that right at the beginning and make it easy for them to make a decision. But it needs to be reflective of what is in the business case and not change the thinking by actually trying to introduce bias or some form of suggestion outside of what has been analyzed and identified and presented in the business case. We have the description of the current situation. This is one of the initial sections too. This would be one of the very common section of the business case, which we would include in there. The description of the current situation describes what the organization is currently going through. It may be a particular problem. Maybe it's facing some particular political problem. It may be facing some financial problem, or whatever problem it is, or maybe it's some technological thing too. So maybe they're receiving more complaints in a customer services department, and they now need to look into why this particular problem is occurring. Why are they receiving so many complaints? They may have done root cause analysis, and they may have identified that the problem was with the delivery of the product. And now they've decided through the business case that a particular solution would be to implement some software solution into the staff systems and processes that are going to be delivering the products to speed up delivery so that they get less complaints, because they've identified that that's where the problem is, and the solution that is being presented is this technological solution that is going to speed up the process, speed up efficiency, and speed up delivery. So that could be a description of whatever the current situation is in whatever organization it is. They will describe the opportunity or the problem there and why they're actually looking into this. Then an extremely important, another part of the business case, another page or another section of the document would be cost-benefit analysis. And this is where we look at the costs of all the different options that are being presented. So we may simply need to just find out what the cost of the solution is and present this to the organization and say to them, is the benefit of implementing this solution? Let's say it's this technological, this computer program or the system that we're now going to be implementing into our customer, or rather our product delivery department to speed up efficiency in delivery. We have to look at the cost of it and weigh up the benefits. Are the benefits going to outweigh the cost? Is the cost going to outweigh the benefits? And we then can use various techniques within this section. As you should know, we carry out an investment appraisal where we do cost-benefit analysis. We can use payback calculations, we can use net present value calculations or internal rate of return. There's various calculations that we can do to see if the return on investment, which is the benefits, are going to outweigh the cost. Then we have another section in our business case, a very common section, which is the impact assessment, where we do our analysis and we look into the business. We may even do some investigation, use some investigation techniques to see how is the business going to be impacted. We may use techniques such as Porter's five forces, or we may use force field analysis. We may use PESTLE. We may use various techniques and look at what impacts from an external and an internal perspective are going to take place. If we implement this new solution, what's going to happen? Is it going to affect the staff? Is it going to cost us more money in the long run? What maintenance is going to take place? Is there training required? How is it going to impact the organization from a negative and a positive perspective? Mainly from a negative perspective. Then the next category is the risk assessment. So here we'll do our analysis and we use our techniques and we'll establish what the risk of implementing this particular solution is into the organization. So it's a very common mistake for students to make, is to perceive impact and risk to be the same thing. And if you think of it contextually, they are actually quite a bit different. So an impact is something that is going to occur if we implement the solution, and a risk is something that is probable or could or may have a likelihood of occurring. So we need to be able to present both of these things. We need to present to our stakeholders and say to them that if we implement this solution, let's say we're implementing this technology to improve efficiency, we say the impacts may be that this is going to happen if we do this. This is going to happen. This is going to impact the organization. And then we also have to tell them that if we do this, potentially this could happen. Because to make decisions, for the decision makers to make a valid choice, a very reasonable choice when they are assessing the business case, they need to know what the risks are to it as well as the impact. So what risk are they going to take on, as well as what will really occur. And then you'll have other sections, sometimes an appendix, which includes additional information and such. But that is generally the main structure of a business case. And now we've gone through the structure and we know that this is what we should know from our business analysis studies, our business analysis practice syllabus. Let's look through this question once again. So Open Door Properties has created a business case to digitize its letting operation. The following statements will appear in the report. Okay, so we know that this is a business case. We've identified this organization, and which is Open Door Properties, and they're creating a business case. We now know why they would be doing it, and in this particular case, the option is to digitize its letting operation. This is why they are creating the business case. And the following statements appear in the report. So this is statements that are part of the business case. But we now need to identify all of these. So all of these statements, where would they appear in the business case? Which section? And if we've gone through our studies and we know the information that we've learned from the business case, we should know where various statements or information should be going in each of the different sections of the business case. So in the instructions, it says in which section of the business case are these statements most likely to be found. So we have a look at these four options here, and we can see that these are the different categories or the sections of a business case, as it even states it there. So we need to know what needs to go into these different sections. So if we say a new technology supplier will need to be brought on board, Is this in relation to cost or benefits? Is this relation to risks, options, or impacts? To me, it seems way more likely to be an impact. It says the next one is the internal processes will change due to automation. Is this talking about cost-benefit analysis? Is it talking about risks? Is it talking about options? No, it's talking about impacts. Then it says a new developer role will be needed costing 20k per annum. This once again is an impact. And the fourth one, 2 existing roles will be made redundant with a once-off cost of £20,000. This is once again an impact. This is most likely to appear in there. You would imagine that they would give you a little bit more information if it was directing you towards one of the other areas. So it can't be an option because the options that are presented are the actual solutions. These are the positive things describing what should be done. But this is not doing it from that context. So D is incorrect. From a risk perspective, it's not talking about it in the context of a risk, saying that this potentially could happen if this were to happen, or you were to make this change. It's not talking about these statements in that context. B, cost-benefit analysis, doesn't have enough information for us to indicate that it has carried out a payback calculation. It's talking about return on investment or such. There is some figures in there, but not enough for us to point us that this information has appeared in the cost-benefit analysis section. But you can see very clearly contextually that these statements have come from an impact assessment, the impact assessment section of the business case, because they are describing the various impacts. It's a list of the statements of what is to impact the organization if they make this change, if they implement this solution. And this is what the decision makers would use to consider. So A is the correct answer, and this is the final question. So that's the final one in the series, and I hope that it's given you enough knowledge and it's actually helped you to answer questions more clearly when you are writing your paper. Just ensure that you know all of the information from your business analysis studies, your business analysis practice studies. Ensure that you've analyzed the syllabus document to ensure that you've covered all of the learning objectives, and you have the ability to recall this information and apply this information. Because as this is a practitioner course, you're expected to be able to take the information that you've learned and apply it to a particular context. And we can see this from all of these questions here, that they're presenting scenarios. And the reason for this particular area of your business analysis studies is to get you to a point where you are career ready, where you know how to apply all these techniques and knowledge to your different assignments, to the tasks that will be given to you as a business analyst. So you don't just go in there and you have to try and figure it out as you go. If you know your stuff and you know how to apply it, you'll be a much better business analyst, and you'll be able to bring a lot more value to your organization and to yourself. So that being said, I wish you the best of luck with your business analysis studies and your exams. And if you have if you need any further information or need to reach out to your tutors, or you need to look into which other courses you'd like to study, the IT Online Learning mentors, tutors, career support specialists are all available for you to reach out to them. And you can just visit the ITonlinelearning.com website, and you can fill out the contact forms on there, or the web chat, or even give us a call, and our consultants will be ready to help you with whatever you need in business analysis, project management, or whatever study area that you're going into. So I wish you the best of luck for your career and your future, and hopefully I'll see you in one of the future series of videos. So take care, and I hope you have an awesome day. Thank you very much. Goodbye.